It's, like even in sports, I'm, Canada, big hockey fan, of course, and it took the biggest star, Sidney Crosby. He got a head injury, then he got another one, and this was in a hockey world where the head was. I mean, we wore helmets as kids, but it just wasn't. Concussions weren't even really. We knew about them, but you had to really get one to make anybody talk about it. And then he missed I think he was in a dark room for 3 months recovering from a head injury, and that was his second one. And then all of a sudden it started to shift. In the construction world, you don't have a big superstar that everybody knows, so it's almost easy for it to just be sort of. It's harder to spread the message. It really has to be, I guess, the top down has to look at it this way, right?
Yeah, because the workers, the workers aren't gonna see that. They're, construction workers are bred to be tough. They don't get hurt. If they do fall down or they do get banged up, they jump right up, and they gotta show, their toughness. And so that they're likely not gonna make the correct choice. Some of them are, and I think, like I said, the shift is happening. So people are starting to think, oh yeah, I probably should protect that. And it's really just the stat is that most head injuries in construction come from 6 feet or less, from what they refer to as trips, slips, and falls. And typically, 9 times out of 10, by the time they hit the ground, that hard hat is no longer on their head anyway.
Yep.
Not that it would do a whole lot to protect them if it's a traditional Type 1, but because it didn't have a chin strap, it didn't stay on and didn't stay secure, and wasn't really able to do what a helmet is meant to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's the other side of it too. Is those helmets are so much better looking than the ridiculous looking helmets that from the 1920s.
I mean, yeah, it's the profile, because with the hard hat in the traditional harness system, they created a bunch of dead air above your head and between the shell, and that dead air or that gap is what was protecting you from a falling object. And so then the profile of the helmet was much taller. And so now with these helmets that, with our helmet, we definitely took a lot of elements from a bike helmet and ski helmets, and how the interior is designed, but it's a profile thing. So you don't want it to stick way up on your head and make you look goofy.
Well, and compact spaces. That's the other thing with those helmets is guys take them off on construction sites or mining sites or whatever it is. And people aren't supposed to do it, but when you're having to navigate, electrical and all this sort of stuff, you're adding so much space above your head.
Yeah, and the traditional full brim hard hat, made it difficult to get into confined spaces. So that's one positive thing we hear from people once they've shifted over to a climbing style helmet is, they can move around. The brim doesn't catch on things as much, but it's kind of a give and take between, the protection of the elements from sun and rain, and kind of depends on what your specific, job function or niche is, or what industry or vertical you're in.